Okay. Here are the factors that that will affect the growth of your microorganisms and especially the bacteria. It is normally denoted by fat tone. First F means food, means what kind of foods you are handling with, and that will tell that how much are the chances that bacteria can grow on it. For example, what are the conditions of that food is bacteria requires a high protein, a high carbohydrate food. For example, the meat, the seafoods, the poultry, the cooked plant food. You people are well aware the fact that the best and the favorite medium for bacteria's growth is always the meat, and the most favorite one is the blood. And then it comes the milk. Blood and milk are the favorite or the most suitable mediums for bacteria's growth. And likewise is the meat. Meat is also very high in nutrition, and it contains all the nutrients that a bacteria requires to grow. So they grow in those products at very high rate. And then is A means acidity. Then how acidity influence the rate of growth of bacteria? Acidity impacts the growth of bacteria. That if your food is highly acidic, the bacteria cannot grow in it. If it is about neutral, the bacteria will grow in it at a very tremendous rate. Means they will grow at very high speed. And likewise, if it is very alkaline, then also they cannot grow in it. And normally it is supposed that if the acidity of the product is below 2 or is about to 2, the bacteria will not grow in it. That's why that your pickles and your jams do not spoil quite frequently. Then is the temperature. Bacteria do not grow at very high and very low temperature. It only grows at the optimum temperature, that is the room temperature. And then in the danger zone, they normally grow. That ranges from 5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. From 5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, it is a danger zone. That if you keep your food in that zone for more than 2 hours, then your food becomes unacceptable for eating, or it might cause some contaminations. Then is the time. It depends that how much time your food is exposed to the danger zone. Then it will define that either your food is contaminated or not. If your food is exposed to the danger zone for more than is about to 4 hours, more than 2 hours and about to 4 hours, then it will be considered as unsafe food for consumption. Then is the oxygen. Most of the pathogenic bacteria are aerobic bacteria. They are not anaerobes. So they required oxygen, and some are also anaerobic pathogens too that can even grow in the absence of oxygen. Then is the moisture. Some bacteria and microorganisms require a high humidity level just to grow properly. For example, the molds and the yeast. Next, please. Next slide, please. It is all the description about the danger zone. You can see that from 40 degree Fahrenheit to 140 degree Fahrenheit, it's a danger zone. And if we see in degrees Celsius, it's from 5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. And this is the zone where bacteria can grow properly, and its growth is not restricted. Next, please. Okay, potentially hazardous foods. What are the foods that are more prone uh, to be affected by the hazards? As we have studied earlier, that the beef is the most favorite, uh, or any kind of meat is the most favorite uh, medium of growth for microorganism, and especially the bacteria. Then is the meat or the fish stuffing. Fish is also meat. You can see that it is also rich in protein and high water activity it has. So it is a suitable medium for growth of microorganisms like the bacteria. And then is the dairy products. In dairy products, I have told you earlier that blood is the topmost favorite medium of growth for microorganisms, especially bacteria. And the second topmost favorite medium is milk. So likewise is the dairy products. Right after meat products, it comes the dairy products that are more susceptible of bacterial contamination. And then it comes the eggs, the creams, filled pastries, and the custards. I have told you earlier that eggs are a very good source uh, of salmonella because they have high water activity and they come in contact with poultry. And the poultry meats and the hens are very good source of salmonella also. They have a very high bacterial count. For example, 1,500 microorganisms are present per centimeter of their feathers if they are alive. Okay. And then at the fourth number, it is vegetables. Vegetables, because many vegetables have high water activity, and maximum vegetables have high water activity. So owing to that, it causes a rapid microbial growth. And then is the starchy food. Starchy food, what is starchy foods? That are rich in carbohydrates or the starch. For example, the rice, potatoes, and the grains. As we have studied earlier, that right after protein, the carbohydrates are the favorite. And right after protein, then dairy products, and then finally is the carbohydrates that are the favorite medium of bacteria's growth. So is the starchy food. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay. We have studied all the contaminants, that what kind of contaminants could be the part of your food line, your production line. Now we are to study that how we can prevent those contaminants, that what kind of protocols or what kind of preventive measures we have to control all those contaminants. To prevent all those contaminants, first that comes in hierarchy is the HACCP, hazard analysis and critical control point. And here are the principles of hazards. Those are the 6 principles, but 5 are the functional one. And all of them are written over here. The first one is to conduct a hazard analysis. You people might be familiar with all that. We have conduct 2 to 3 session on the same topic. Second is identifying critical control point. This is the point where we maximum control the hazard. And then is establish critical limit. We establish maximum and minimum limit for the control of critical point, critical control point, and that is our critical limit. And then is the establishment of a critical control point monitoring requirements. When means we keep on monitor the critical control points and our critical limits. And then is in case we observe any kind of anomaly or variation in our critical control point, then we establish some corrective actions. This is the preventive method for prevention of contamination. And other prevention methods could also be studied in this regard that is not mentioned over here. That, for example, ISO 9000, instead of 9000, I must say ISO 22000 and FSSC 22000. Those two certification are also for food safety. And those systems are also called to prevent the food contamination. Next, please. Next, please. Next slide. Okay. Now we are talking about the critical control points in food safety. In food safety process. It starts from our food safety process starts from purchasing. Means this is the very first point of your production line, your production plant, and then is receiving, then is storing, then is preparing, then is cooking, then is serving and holding, and then is cooling, and then comes reheating. Reheating is not a must step. In case you have some leftover, then you apply the technique of reheating. Next, please. We will discuss all of them one by one. First of all is the purchasing. For purchasing, you're supposed to evaluate your supplier, either he's certified or not. What kind of certifications you might check that he might contain ISO 22000, FSSC 22000 certifications, or has just the HACCP certifications. Or you might check that your supplier have a trained team, means all of his employees are trained, well trained, and at his premises the safe or the sanitary packaging practices are being exercised or not, and his delivery time zones and records might be checked during logistic operations. What kind of conditions are applied to your raw material? Is temperature being maintained while operation? And then you are supposed to place your order to your consumer. And you are also observe that if he has enough storage capacity, that he's promising you that he will provide each day that amount of product, and at his premises he do not have enough capacity, means it makes you believe that there is something is wrong with the procedures. Even if he has all the setups and all the safety standards and trained team, but might be possible that his capacity is not that much as he's promising that he will provide you. So you will have to keep in mind or evaluate all the procedures and assess them, and then you finalize your final supplier, that who is most suitable for your production line. Next, please. After purchasing, it is the receiving. You have finalized your supplier. Now you have ordered your raw material. Now you have to receive that raw material. you have fulfilled all the requirements that a supplier is certified, he is very reputed, and he's maintaining all the conditions. Now you are to receive and you are to observe that, well, what kind of raw material that I ordered, is this exactly of the same quality or not? Is this raw material is suitable for my final product or not? Is it fulfilling my or not? Is it up to my production demand or not? You will have to see that what kind of production setup you have, what kind of equipments you have, and is that raw material suitable for your production line or not? Okay, what kind of checklist you will make and tally them. First is check supplies upon receipt for sign of spoilage. If there is any kind of spoilage signs, means they are discolored, are giving off any kind of smell, or they have not proper a faded color of your raw material, then it is a kind of sign of spoilage. Or maybe it could have some molds or spores growth on its surface, or might be wilted. Like, and the second step is color, odor, textures, slime. When some products start deteriorating, they become slimy. For example, when tomatoes get spoiled, they become slimy, and a very greasy type of and uh, a slimy kind of touch they provides. And then is the mold growth, dirt, insect. You might check that if there is any insect droplets or insect body parts or anything like that, or any sign that provides an evidence that your final product is being damaged by any of insects or pests. For example, if the packets are being damaged by insects or rodents, if they are if they are swollen, for example, if any kind of chemical reaction is being happening in the product, or any kind of gas is being produced by microorganisms as a result of that spoilage, that will cause a bulging or swelling in your canned product or in your packet. So swelling, piercing, rusting, or wet containers, means wetting is showing that there is some kind of leakage in the container. And the quality, temperature, general conditions, all that things you are supposed to check while receiving, right? And then is arranged delivery for off-peak hours. Means you are supposed to deliver while there is no rush on the roads. Means there is not heavy traffics on those hours, because if there is heavy traffics and your logistics transport operations might be delayed, and if they are delayed, means it is risking your product also, because it is it might delaying its processing time, that could be eventually might loss in the safety or the quality of the product. Plan ahead to ensure sufficient storage space. Means if you are procuring something, you should already have a prepared storage space where you can immediately store that food at proper temperature and stored environment conditions. Transfer to proper storage promptly, like immediately you are supposed to transfer your product to your storage room. Clean transport carts, like all your carts and the containers that you are using to store your food, that must be cleaned properly. Date food, at what date you are procuring, you are receiving your food, and what is its expiry. Everything should be labeled on your containers. Remove the external packaging, means the packaging that was provided by supplier, you are supposed to remove them because you are to put them as per your own requirements, your storage areas requirement. And place the products in clean crates, means crates of your own storage area. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Okay. Now is the storing. In storing, different kind of storing practices could be exercised. First, we are talking about dry storing, means there is less humidity. Dry storing means less humidity. Different products have different kinds of storage requirements. Dry storage is also one of them. Clean or orderly items. Okay, you are supposed to keep your items off the floor. Means you are not supposed to directly put anything, any product of yours directly on the surface of floor. You must keep it upward at least 15 inch above your floor surface. There should be good ventilation, means there should be proper air circulation in your facility, in your storage facility. And if there is any tubers type of product, then it should its temperature should ranges from 10 to 24 degrees Celsius. It is normally for tuber crops, for example, the potatoes. And the FIFO rotation should be observed or exercised, means first in, first out. And then dating packages, means all the packages that are being stored, the date, the day, everything, and other informations about the product should be mentioned on it. Clean spills promptly, like if any kind of spill thing is being spilled on your storage area, that should be immediately cleaned off. Trash kept out of room, means you're not supposed to accumulate any kind of trash at storage area or at your production area, because it attracts microorganisms, insects, and all other kind of hazards. Segregates cleaning supplies. As we have already discussed that the sanitizing containers and the food storage containers and the food manufacturing are the food preparing containers should be saved separately. And then is the pest control, means you pest control programs are should be implied, means there should not be any kind of pest activity at your place. And check humidity, as it is a dry storage, so you are not supposed to increase the humidity of your storage area. Next, please. Then is the refrigerated storage, means you are storing your food in the refrigerator. As we have already discussed the danger zone, that was above 5 degrees Celsius. So refrigeration should be done at least below 5 degrees Celsius. It starts most probably from 4 degrees Celsius. Don't overload. Why don't overload? Because it will affect the ventilation of the product, and the respiration that is being happening in your raw material or your product, that will cause the formation of hot spots in case there is no proper ventilation. So your storage refrigerator should not be overloaded. Then is allow for air transfer. Why I have already told you that why you need proper ventilation or air transferred, because respiration could cause the heat, and those heat and humidity could cause a um, safe haven for microorganisms, or might be a reason to make the hotspots in them. Date items, exactly same thing, that everything that you are storing in refrigeration, you are supposed to put date and time on it. Properly sealed, yes, all of your products should be separately sealed so that they could not contaminate each other. Raw and cooked on bottom, uncooked on bottom, away from ready to eat foods. All of your cooked foods are stored on the top shelves, and your raw material your raw materials will be stored in the bottom of the refrigerator. Why on the bottom of the refrigerator? Because raw material normally contains contaminants. For example, the pathogens. Likewise is the case of raw meat that contains salmonella. If you store them on top shelves of the refrigerator, that may juice, when you are keeping it for thawing process in the refrigerator to your frozen meat, it's juice, it's water, it's residue waters, and meat juice might seep out into your cooked food, and that can highly contaminate or make it susceptible to food poisoning to your ready to serve food. Next, please. Then is the freezers. Freezing temperature starts from minus 18 degrees Celsius, means below 0 degrees Celsius. Normally, freezer's temperature is minus 18 degrees Celsius. Stores food immediately for foods that are frozen upon receipt, means to whom you are supposed to freeze. You must immediately after receiving, you should prepare to freeze them. Slotted shelves. Slotted shelves mean there should be proper gaps between shelves so that air ventilation could be properly observed. Use moisture-proof containers and wrappings, means in which wrappers you are wrapping that must not be got wet when they come in contact with moisture. Avoid multiple entries, means you must not keep on opening it again and again, time and again. That must be least visited, right? Segregate large warm containers into smaller ones, means you must not keep larger and hot containers, means that are higher in temperature. You, instead of that, you should put small containers in the freezers that are at room temperature or at normal temperature. That should not be warmer, as it will increase the load on a freezer. Next, please. Preparation and food handling. Okay. Contamination. We have already discussed the cross-contamination, how during preparation and handling cross-contamination could be happen. And we also have saw one of its examples too. Cross-contamination is one of the most common cause of food poisoning, and it happens when harmful germs are spread onto food from other food. And in this regard, we saw the example that the raw meat was imparting salmonella to a cooked pizza, right? For example, a waiter is handling the raw meat, and without washing his hands, he goes to serve his guest with the pizza. When he touches the plates or anything like that, with the same hands that he have dealt the raw meat with, that can transfer the salmonella to the pizza or anything that is he's serving to his. Okay. We were discussing the cross contamination, like if waiter is handling the raw material and then he handles the ready to serve food with the same hands without washing them, he might transfer the microorganisms from one food to the other. This is an example of cross contamination. Next, please. Okay, then it comes how to prevent the cross contamination. There are multiple ways to prevent cross contamination. First of all is do not let raw meat, poultry or unwanted raw vegetables touch other foods. Means your raw material is a very good source of contaminants. So you must not let it come in touch with cooked foods or with your handlers who are handling the cooked food. Okay. Then it's never prepare ready to eat food using a chopping board, utensils that have already come in contact with the uh, raw material. Because if in case you are using the same board to cut the raw meat, and then you use the same board to cut your bread slices, then it will definitely impart some kind of microorganisms to your bread. And then is clean worktops and utensils with hot waters and detergents. Why hot waters? Because it can kill bacteria properly. Okay. And the detergents will also help to kill the microorganisms that are being incorporated by your raw material or from your mishandling. And always wash your hands. Hand washing practice should again and again be observed, because whenever you are touching a cooked food, a ready to serve food, right after touching your raw material, then you should wash your hands. If you are using restroom or touching any dustbin or collecting any garbage or touching the handles of the doors or anything else, then also you should wash your hands. If you are sneezing or coughing or blowing your nose, then also you should wash your hands. Okay, root vegetables, for example, the potato, the leeks, and the carrots can have traces of soil on them. And if soil is being treated with the manure, raw manure, or imperfect compost, that could be a hotspot for a source of microorganisms like E. coli, Salmonella, Campylobacter, and many other. So those tubers will also contain those contaminants. So you have to be careful whenever you are dealing with tubers. Keep the distance clean and change them regularly, those tubers actually. Avoid preparing food for yourself or other if you are ill. If you are ill, then you are not supposed to handle any kind of and right after your illness is being treated and you are fully healed and cured, then also you are supposed to rest for 48 hours. Means next 2 days you also cannot visit your food premises, right? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is the same thing, temperature control. We have already discussed the danger zone, that the food should not be maintained between 5 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, and at room temperature it should not be left for more than 2 hours, and so on. If it is left for about 4 hours, then we have to waste it. Next, please. Myth is that refrigeration temperature stops the growth, but it actually not stop. It actually uh, do not stops the growth, but it lowers the growth. And likewise is it is safe to thaw temperature on counter, because it is never safe to thaw your meat product on counter at room temperature, because it also invites to other microorganisms. Then you must thaw it either in oven or at refrigeration temperature. Next, please. Okay. Then it's the cooking. Then at while you are cooking your food, then you must keep the internal temperature of your product about 75 degrees Celsius, because at this temperature all the microorganisms are not all the microorganisms, because spores are not killed, but maximum pathogens are being killed at this temperature. So you are supposed to stir the temperature, stir the food properly, because for the uniform distribution of the temperature. Regular size, thickness of foods.